It started off at a planned capacity of 60,000 units a year, and we have since doubled that capacity, and we still have trouble meeting demands. It is a once-in-a-lifetime vehicle. We also make the Kia Sorento. We're on our third generation of that. We make the Kia Optima. We're on our third, or K5 now. We're on our third generation of that, and then we've added a fourth vehicle in February of 2022, which was the Kia Sportage. We currently employ 3,200 people on our site. Our site meaning the Kia Georgia facility. If you add the supply base that is on our facility, we have 6,500 people on our site every single day. We are located in West Point, and its population is only 3,300. Twice the size of the city every single day. So they're opposite. I'll come back to the commercial now if I can make it work. So what I thought I'd share with you, and I'm sure many of you saw this during the Super Bowl, this shows the Kia Telluride. This car was actually launched at the Super Bowl in 2020. And there was a young man in that video talking about how the revitalization is going on in West Point. This was a city that was just devastated from NAFTA when the mills left. When we arrived, there was over 13% unemployment. Today, there's 3% unemployment. So we think that we've had a significant impact on this.
Yes. You remembered her favorite binky, right? You forgot the binky? I forgot the binky. Tragic. Hashtag binky dad. OMG guys, he forgot the binky.
Hey, it's binky day. Hey, run away. Our top story. A father has forgotten the binky, but he's capturing hearts. Binky dad thinks of that, Gordon.
She only likes the blue one.
Kia, movement that inspires.
So it's a never-ending quest to satisfy our shoulders. So we've proven what we can do in a three-row SUV with this particular vehicle. In April of this year, we announced at the New York Auto Show that we would build the EV9, which will be a fully battery electric vehicle. It is a vehicle that is of the same exact size as a Telluride, actually a little bit longer. So I thought what I would do is let you see this video, and then we'll talk a few stats on those.
Kia, movement that inspires.
So it too, as a vehicle, has the same potential as the Telluride to be a game changer. It will be the most sophisticated vehicle that we've ever built, and it certainly will be the largest in the Kia family. It will be the first ultra-competitive EV that Kia is providing to the US market. We do currently supply the EV6, which is a sedan. It will combine all the elements of the Telluride, which was the 2020 World Car of the Year, with all the EV elements of the EV6. In this past year, it was named as the World Performance Car of the Year with the GT version. As a first three-row 7-seat EV for Kia. It will mix the capabilities of technology and refined elegance. It is slightly longer than the Telluride. It will have 5,000-pound towing capacity, 379 horsepower, 516 feet of torque, and a capability to go from 0 to 60 under 5 seconds. So it's going to be a fun ride. I think some of you have driven in the EVs. It's that instant power that you get from these motors on the individual wheels and not having to combust fuel that takes people by surprise, without a doubt. It will have the 4th generation battery technology, meaning it will have the ability with the level 2 charging system to go from 10 to 80% in 25 minutes. There is a lot of talk about this product, and you will continue to hear more in the months ahead. But my favorite thing about this is it will be built here in Georgia, and specifically West Point, Georgia. Some of you may have seen the article that was released last week. So we've announced a $200 million+ expansion of our facility to accommodate this into our facility. And that also will create nearly 200 new additional tax-paying jobs for Georgians. So it's an exciting time to be in transportation, and it's going through big changes on many fronts. Some that have been in the planning for years, and others have been brought on by the pandemic issues. From the current automotive industry viewpoint, we think that there are 3 areas to be considered, understood, and prioritized. We have to focus on recovery, retooling, and renewing of our industry. So let me reflect a little bit on the recovery. The pandemic was something that arguably none of us were prepared for, and hopefully we'll never ever have to see again. I would walk into my office at 6:30 in the morning, and I'd have a plan for what I was going to do for the day. And as an industry, much similar to yours, this is how I'm going to operate month to month. And by 6:45, I'm throwing that plan out. And by 7 o'clock, I'm throwing that plan out. And a lot of that is traced back to what I suspect you had similar problems, supply chain issues. This caused us to reflect on what we need to do differently and how we need to do it better. We can no longer sit idle and wait for things to just happen. We have to be out in front. There have been times with our unwavering partners like Georgia Department of Transportation and the Georgia Ports Authority that we've had good, close communication, and those partnerships are what helped us to get through a very difficult time. Understanding what each other had to have to make your business operate, at least in this state of Georgia, is one of the huge benefits that we see. The traditional application of PFMEA discipline has been utilized in many areas of our operation to better understand how can I do something. And the key words in that are how can I do. Many on my team are tired of hearing me say, stop telling me how I can't do it. I only want to hear how I'm going to do it. We have to think differently. And you learn by doing so. Learn by failure is not always the most optimal thing, but sometimes you have to learn and apply lessons. We all hold our standards very sacred, and they're generally not open to compromise. I would tell you that first and foremost. The most predictable thing is if I build it the same way, I know at least what I'm going to get out, and I have a starting point to go backwards. So we're not open to changing standards, but the problem is we have to think about how to change those standards. And during these 3 years, we really deconstructed everything that we had and looked about how we're going to move forward and apply those lessons to improve our overall quality and efficiency. When we look at the industry right now, you can easily recognize a dynamic that demands a retooling of sorts. We have to operate in 2 lanes of preparation, preparing the current present situation, but also preparing for what the future is. The industry is on the cusp of a change it has not seen since horse-drawn carriages. The integration of mobility solutions of tomorrow requires a very different solution and skill set. If you think about where cars are, and I only go back to 2009 when we started building cars, there was a lot of technology, but every single year, I know from our perspective and I know from my competitors, we've added more and more technology to communicate car to car to other related issues. and that is not slowing down. When the labor market in our great state and literally across the nation presented serious challenges in attracting talent, the mobility industry and its additional challenges had to convert how do we diversify those skill sets in the existing workforce that are now needed for EV production. As previously mentioned, the state of Georgia has taken a proactive approach when it comes to EV. Governor Kemp's EMIA, the Electric Mobility Innovation Alliance, which focused in the areas of infrastructure, I think something probably near and dear to your hearts, supply chain, workforce preparedness, and that's all near and dear to our hearts, innovation and policy. In our opinion, that is the right direction, and Georgia is well prepared. Each of these EMIA areas is important and significant to the success of EVs. It's about skilling up the current workforce in preparation for the future. It is front and center to each of our operations. It's educating team members on the transition and ensuring they're continually educated on fast-paced changing technology, and it supports each of our individual missions to meet the current needs of the public. We have to look at what the workforce needs in the next 10, 20, and 30 years. Those future Kia Georgia team members are sitting in local classrooms across the region, and we need to develop and establish an environment that will cultivate that talent and generate interest in advanced manufacturing. This is necessary for us to be prepared for our future, not only in the U.S., but certainly here in Georgia. We've taken a variety of approaches through the years when it comes to that development by setting up local pipelines where we need to achieve growth and prosperity. Before we ever rolled the first vehicle off the assembly line, we recognized we had a shortage in the maintenance area. Individuals who could go in and work on our advanced equipment and understand how to repair them when needed. So we partnered with Georgia Quick Start in the initial days to help develop that workforce. With that development, it got our students exposed, those students plus even individuals in the school systems exposed to STEM education and what potential pathways could be. We worked with local business and industry, and we established a college and career academy that we call THINK. It is a charter school that received millions of dollars in funding with the simple basic idea of us developing the workforce in the future. Since that time, we've engaged with the school to sponsor and hire interns and work in their areas of interest, allowing them to experience the application of their fields of study, but in a real world environment. Now that's individuals not only in the technical colleges and the four-year schools, but also in the high schools, so work-based learning. Some of those individuals have graduated and moved on to technical colleges and universities from the high schools, and some have come straight to work for us. Education has always been our principal objective in preparing the workforce for the future, but our need for maintenance skills, as I had previously mentioned, couldn't be delayed. That program evolved to where we made a maintenance certification program. It started off with Georgia Quick Start and is now transitioned over into the technical college in our local community, which is West Georgia Technical College, part of the TCSG system of the 22 colleges around the state. It provides individuals a pathway to grow their skill set. There's team members from our own production system that apply and say, hey, I want to advance myself and have more potential earnings. They go in and learn in the areas of electrical, PLCs, pneumatics, hydraulics, everything that's needed to run our particular equipment. It takes about 2 years for them to complete that program, and to date we've graduated north of 70 individuals. The impact that is felt on our side is that we're able to keep our production system operating at a very efficient rate. Again, that's how you make 340,000 cars. It also provides future opportunities for advancement of their education. These MCP participants, as we call them, are able then to complete an Associate of Applied Science degree in precision manufacturing and maintenance. They're developing their skill set, which helps us to retain those individuals as we develop them individually. There's no doubt that this program is only possible due to our longstanding and successful partnerships with Georgia Quick Start and the Technical College System of Georgia. And then we believe that that's how Georgia remains the best state in which to do business for 9 straight years. But we've also gone a step further, as I previously mentioned, back into the education system. So let me share with you a quick video.
Team members, and welcome to March. Let's start this week with a look at this year's A World in Motion Jet Toy Competition. This competition is for 5th graders and is one of the key events each year for Kia Georgia's sponsorship of the phenomenal STEM program that has been implemented into kindergarten through 8th grade classrooms throughout our area. Here with that story is KGTV's Faye Jones.
Well, thank you, Jay. I'm here at the World in Motion competition here in Columbus, Georgia, and I'm here with Alicia Bach of SAE. Alicia, tell us a little bit about what's going on today.
Absolutely. So today we are here to do a competition with Kia for 5th graders using a balloon-powered car so they can get time for time, distance, accuracy, just a way to bring together people in the community, give them a day of fun, but also kind of something rewarding. So SAE partnered with Kia so we can make this day happen.
Okay, wonderful. And this is part of the STEM education.
Yeah, we're part of the STEM learning part of SAE International. So we do STEM programming from pre-K up through university students.
Okay. And Truth, Meriwether, Chambers, and
Lynette City and Harris County are all with us today.
Okay.
So we have about 5 school districts participating today with about 200 students and over 50 volunteers.
okay. And what are some of the things that you hope the students get out of today?
We really hope today that we get students, number one, to have fun, teamwork, communication, and really just getting to kind of get an idea that STEM learning isn't just something you have to do in school. It exists everywhere, and hope that they just have a good time doing it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So World in Motion is a program that's run through the SAE organization. I'm sure many of you are familiar with them. It is being implemented or has been implemented in actually the local kindergarten through the 8th grade. And again, as previously mentioned, it's about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But I think what's more important than that is teaching skills, teaching children how to work together, how to problem solve, how to be analytical. And we see that, I would imagine, in many of our workplaces, that that's not so easy to do today. But these kids are excited about it. This event that is shown in the video is held every single year, so it's a competition. And it is about winning for them, but it's also about how they're working with their classmates. To date, more than 90,000 local students have been impacted by this program as we've contributed more than $3.6 million in funding to support it. What I realized actually this year in Columbus was the kids that were there weren't born when we started the program. So time goes by quick, and the kids that were there that many years ago, some of them are retired. So it is having an impact. We just have to be more purposeful in what we're doing with it. So that's one event. The next one that I want to show you is another avenue, and it's called Green Power USA. So Green Power USA does basically the same thing, but as you can see, these young individuals are racing more or less an electric go-kart. They buy a kit and they work together in teams to build that mobility device. It is a very highly competitive class certainly in the middle schools, and it's into the high schools also. We think that it's the right time for us based on where we are as a company and certainly as a state. Again, they're learning how to work together, read data, make analytical approaches on how to solve problems, with the end hope that many of those individuals will be the ones working in our own businesses and industries in the future. It is a competition, so it does require them, as I said, to work together. They meet and compete at different school events. I think the other unhidden characteristic of this is when you go, the amount of adults that are there with these children, watching and cheering them on. And it's not just the parents, it's the grandparents, it's the siblings. And so the siblings that are there are saying, well, I want to do that when I get into that grade. So there's a lot of positive side benefits to it also. Programs like these are critical in running and building our next workforce. The initiatives will continue to be a big part of our individual workforce development as far as our company. I would encourage you to look in your local areas and identify what those opportunities of how I can participate. No matter how small, they need that initiative if we need them to come into our particular places of business. Talking with industry leaders around the state, we've all realized we can no longer sit on the sidelines and wait on the education system to just deliver employees to us. If we are, in 5 years, we'll all be asking ourselves, what did we not do? So get a seat at the table, not at the back table, at the front table. Provide the opportunities. Encourage young individuals to come in and be in co-op programs, workplace-based programs. These are how you get them to understand what you can do. In our industry, and maybe in some of yours, there's this stigma about a dirty, safe, nasty kind of place. I encourage any and all of you to come and see what we do. You can eat off my floors, and I've been operating for 14 years. We have to take the leadership and how to dispel that so that we can have those future employees. The last thing is about renew in our industry and the evolving markets. Today's workforce, we have to think differently, and we know that. It's been a challenge over the last 3 years. I personally think that what we saw in these last years, much of that was coming between 2027 and 2030, but it got here and we were unprepared. What we also have to think about is how do we make these small changes, as previously mentioned before. There is no blanket solution because it's ever evolving. The things I do today will not work next week. And trust me, I've experienced a lot of that. It's dependent upon that group of individuals as to what they expect. One of the things that I always said, and I ended up eating my words, as we've all been taught in our lives, never say the word never. Well, I should have listened to my mother. We had a 3-shift operation, rotating system. And I said I would never change it. January 1 of 2023, I changed it and went to a set shift pattern. It has worked out fantastic, better than what I could have ever, or anybody in my staff could have ever expected. It helped a different workforce setup that we never really understood. So don't get yourself, I would encourage you to don't say never. Think about how you do things differently. As I said previously, it's something that's going to continue to evolve. So what we did in January, we may have to tweak it just a little bit more. But be open to what those changes are, but certainly don't lose your identity either, because that's what made you successful. We spend a lot of time and effort in preparation for this, and it did work out. It has helped us to be better prepared for where we're going. Our system is what we call Plan S, What this slide shows you is a little bit of background. Kia has this plan S that's about mobility solutions for you, the consumer, wherever you are. The solution in West Point, Georgia, and LaGrange, Georgia is very different than the solution in Atlanta. So there's ideas about EVs, you have the air mobility, which would be great in Atlanta. You have fuel cells, you have purpose-built vehicles like up in Peachtree Corners. All of these are on the table from our strategy. And then our plan is that we will bring a new EV into our lineup every year until 2028. And that's just as far as we've made the plan right now. And certainly that's all dependent upon how we solve these really critical issues, which are about infrastructure, to eliminate the concerns as it relates to EVs. And we look forward to working with all of you in how to solve those together. We will continue, as you've seen, and is, I think, fitting to your segment, is about these advanced driver assist systems. The technology going into these cars as we move more and more towards autonomous driving are going to continue to evolve. We're also going to see smart technology implemented in many of our businesses. We're already implementing processes and systems in where a team member that maybe is 5'7", and the next one is 6'1", we can adjust the pallet based on who's working in that particular area. So there's a lot of opportunity out there for us, and again, it only makes and retains that person. So I want to recognize your importance in the state of transportation and how we manage it. I can tell you from a Kia perspective, we greatly appreciate what you do, and we look forward to you continuing that work. We are open for tours for anybody that wants to come see how an automotive factory works. I encourage you to look on KiaGeorgia.com, and there's ways to sign up for public tours, but I'm sure there's a few people that have my email, and you can drop me an email, and we're glad to get you or some of your group, however you want to. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Stuart. That was a great presentation, and it's really tremendous what y'all are doing with the younger generation of students. A few quick housekeeping items. At the 5K, somebody left their phone, so it's at the registration desk. It is an iPhone, so I don't know. We Android people can just not bother checking. And then somebody yesterday left a hat at the pool, and that's at the King and Prince Lost and Found. So we have a little bit of a break, and then the next session starts, what time is it? 10:30. So snacks are out, and check out the exhibitors. Thank you.